I just want to start with the fact that you and I last spoke a little over 2 weeks ago, and at the time there was an impasse in negotiations. Flash forward, come back to the table yesterday to negotiate. Deal struck yesterday. I guess just walk us through some of the color and some of the dynamics that took place to finally see this deal come to fruition finally so quickly.
Well, I think what happened was, there was a lot of pressure being put on UPS from the investors. There was a lot of pressure being put on UPS by their customers, and we were putting a lot of pressure on UPS by demonstrating our solidarity. And I think we proved, not only UPS, but corporate America and everybody else, that labor can be a market changer. And I think UPS finally realized that it needed to reward the members that made them tremendous success and help them earn $100 billion.
Yeah. Teamsters have struck a deal with UPS. And despite what the Teamsters leadership, the White House, and the mainstream media would have you believe, not everybody's happy about it, or even close. First of all, what's in the deal? These are the facts. Well, according to the Washington Post, union workers, I repeat, only union workers, get an immediate raise of $2.50 per hour. If you work 60 hours a week, that equates to $175 per week, or a raise of $9,100 per year. That means that if the minimum salary for a union worker right now is $93,000, then a starting union, I repeat, union driver, now makes $102,100 a year at a minimum. In addition, union drivers get an additional raise of $7.50 an hour over the course of the next 5 years. So if at the end of the next 5 years you're still working 60 hours a week, with overtime, you'll make an additional $26,250 a year, bringing your total pay base for a starting driver with no seniority to $128,350 a year. The union also got UPS to eliminate a class of driver that was a lower paid driver that could also load packages. That's a pretty good deal. But the union president, Sean O'Brien, always said this was about part-time workers.
What needs to happen
to
prevent this?
Our part-timers at UPS are working for poverty wages. Some of them are single mothers, single dads, working crazy hours. And look, everybody loves the UPS drivers who work extremely hard, but those packages do not get on those trucks without those part-timers. And, UPS has the opportunity right now to do the right thing because they can set the tone on how it is to reward their employees who have made them the success that they are. They made $100 billion with a B. And our members deserve to reap those benefits as well.
And speaking of part-timers, Sean, you've called part-time worker wages part-time poverty. Let's look at some numbers. UPS tells us that on average they pay their drivers $95,000 a year with benefits, and part-time workers get $20 an hour with health care eligibility, pension plans. Why do you call this part-time poverty?
Because they're not telling the true story. $93,000 for a full-timer is accurate, but they're working 60, 65 hours. It's an extremely tough job. And when you talk about the part-timers, their part-time wage rate right now is about $16 per hour. UPS is selective. They pick and choose on who they're going to pay, what area, and they can raise the rates. We want to establish a livable starting wage for part-timers, but also make certain we reward those part-timers who worked through the pandemic. We lost members as a result of going to work when there were no vaccinations, no protections, and all the while, bottom line of their balance sheet kept growing and growing and growing. We want to be rewarded. There was no hazard pay. There wasn't anything other than these people, our members, $340,000 providing goods and services to keep this country running.
Let's look at part-timers. What did they actually get? Well, they got a bump from $16.50 an hour to $21 an hour. But you have to read the fine print. Because they were part-time workers, they were only guaranteed 3 hours a day. Now they're guaranteed 3.5 hours a day. At the low end of the scale, that means that workers will now go from making, at a minimum, $346.50 a week. Let me repeat that. A grown man making $346.50 a week to making $514.50 at the bottom end of the spectrum. At the top end of the spectrum, if they work 40 hours a week, the amount of money a part-time worker can make is $660. But with this deal, a part-time non-union worker who make up half of the workforce, yes, I repeat, half of UPS's workforce, that means 180,000 workers, can make $840 a week. That means at the maximum, a part-time worker can make $43,680 before taxes if they work every week out of the year, while their union counterparts make roughly triple that. Triple. Not to mention that part-time workers' hours can be cut at any time, so roughly $40,000 is a ceiling. It could easily be half that, which is basically poverty in America. In addition, the part-timers, women and men, who usually load the trucks and work in the grueling heat, did achieve air conditioning in the trucks, but only in the new trucks, which will start in 2024. The union, however, did secure 7,500 additional positions that will allow part-time workers to become full-time workers. However, during their last contract negotiation, the union secured 10,000 positions to become permanent. It's important to note, however, that in 1997, when UPS secured 10,000 full-time positions for part-time workers, the company did $23 billion in sales. Now the company does $97 billion in sales, but the union only secured 7,500 full-time jobs. Adjusted for revenue, the union only secured 1,875 jobs if you adjust the numbers for revenue. And while the union leadership praised the deal, saying, "We demanded the best contract in the history of UPS, and we got it." That's what Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien said in a statement. He went on to say, "This contract sets a new standard in the labor movement and raises the bar for all workers." And President Biden said in a statement, "Today's announcement moves us closer to a better deal for workers that will also add to our economic momentum." The White House's point person in these negotiations was Celeste Drake, a longtime Hill staffer and a former AFL-CIO lobbyist. Needless to say, the UPS CEO and managers are happy with this deal, but half of their workforce, their part-timers, not so much. Chicago-based UPS part-timer Peter Linsgo said, "I petitioned with Teamsters for Democratic unions call for a $25 per hour base wage. I've been telling that to my coworkers for 5 months. The part-time activists I'm plugged into are furious. I feel betrayed." He goes on to say, "I'm part of a group of part-timers who think that a $25 an hour starting wage is fair. This is physically brutal work. We sacrifice so much, but working this job, it feels like the good parts of life, like going out to dinner and taking a vacation, aren't meant for us. I'm prepared to vote no." He's not alone. Virginia-based UPS part-timer Zach Callahan said, "If I still can't get full-time status with 24 years seniority, that's a problem. I'm in a precarious position because I need the 40-plus hours I get. But since I'm part-time, I'm only guaranteed 3 hours a day. Now it will be 3.5, which is still weak. They can always cut my hours without notice." Workers vote on the UPS deal from August 3rd through August 22nd. UPS, Teamsters leadership, and the White House aren't out of the woods yet. Signing off. Peace. Hey, if you like this video, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. We would love to see you again. So take it easy. Peace.